Aloha salty friends, it's Levon from Salty Cures, and if you're like most people lately with this coronavirus stuff going on, you're probably going out of your mind a little bit, and with regards to your fitness, you're probably trying to figure out how to adjust and adapt so you can do the things you need to do to stay in shape. But today, we're going to talk about what you should not be doing, what I don't want you to do to stay in shape during this time, and how to make the most of it by avoiding these things. So let's talk about it. So as you can probably judge from the backdrop, I'm not in Hawaii at the moment. I'm actually in southern Utah visiting family on a bit of a extended spring break. And this time has given me a lot of time to reflect on the changes we're all going through in society and how that relates to our fitness. And as most of us have realized by now, we're having to make some major adjustments to how we go about our regular daily routines with regards to what we do for workouts and fitness, right? And so I thought this would be a really good time to put out a couple of quick videos for you that can help you kind of wade through and navigate this challenging time and sort of doing a hopefully temporary reset in adjusting to what you need to do to stay in shape. And this is going to be a two-part video series. Today, we're going to talk about things that you should not, things that you don't want to do during this time to make those proper adjustments. And in the next video in a couple of days, I'm going to give you a list of things that you do want to make sure and do so that you can make sure you make the most of this time where you're trying to make, again, these necessary adjustments to how you go about taking care of your fitness. Okay, so here's don't number one, and that is don't trust just anyone. Now, I know that sounds super negative, but hear me out on this one. When all this started several weeks back, and people started realizing, okay, the gyms are gonna be closed, depending on where you live, beaches, parks, other places where people like to work out might be closed. You know, there's the social distancing with keeping distance from people, and just so many different things are gonna throw a big monkey wrench into people's normal routines. I realized that people are gonna start to have to make adjustments to how they work out, which is in large part gonna include having to work out at home. So what I realized is that, okay, a lot of trainers are going to be online making home workouts, exercise programs, and that's awesome. But here's also what I did realize too, is that a lot of them were pretty inept at what they were doing. And I don't mean that as a criticism to them, because for example, you know, trainers who have millions of followers and subscribers on social media platforms obviously got that for a reason. They know what they're talking about, they look the part, there's something that got them there. However, something I realized is that not everybody who trains knows what they're doing for this kind of a unique situation, or they're not well practiced, maybe we should say. You know, if you train in a gym, great. And if you don't train in a gym and you're suddenly trying to help people at home, you might not have the best advice to give. So my point in giving this example, and it's one of possibly many, is that your needs might not be a perfect match for the flashiest trainer that you found on Instagram or YouTube, okay? You need to make sure you are aware of who you are and what you need. What your goals are is number one. There's a whole nother video that I've been planning on making that I haven't yet that talks about how to make the best goals for yourself and be laser focused in how you go about finding the help you need that fits with those goals. But you can't just trust anybody with your body, with your fitness, especially during this time when there's people going to be throwing all kinds of stuff out there at you. So the next don't is don't be careless with your food. Right now is the perfect storm for weight gain, for making really bad food choices, because you know, you're at home a lot, there's lots of time, you're sitting around, you may be binging on your favorite TV shows or social media, which we'll talk about in a second. And like we also talked about a minute ago, your normal routine of going to the gym has probably been interrupted, and so you're kind of trying to figure out, there's a little bit of stress. Maybe you're going a little bit stir crazy and feeling even agitated. Maybe being a stay-at-home parent / school teacher has made you a little bit crazy and you don't want to do it anymore, or you're having a hard time with relationships with your significant other, now having to spend more time with them than you normally are accustomed to. Or maybe you're just at home really bored. The point is, all of these factors, or at least some of them, are going to combine to work against you when it comes to your food. If you don't have the awareness, number one, and also the foresight and planning that you need to have to kind of set your food pantry in order and your refrigerator and freezer in order so that you're not tempted and you're not succumbing to these factors that are going to combine against you to make really, really bad food choices, you're likely to make those really bad food choices. So take some time to, number one, monitor yourself constantly. Are you eating when you're bored? Are you eating when you're frustrated or stressed? Are you angry all the time? Or, any manner of negative emotions might cause you to behave the way you don't want to behave with regards to food. And so again, don't be careless. Know what you're eating, know how much of it you're eating, when you're eating it, and most importantly, know why you're eating it. I think if you have that awareness of your emotional state at any given time, due to the factors that we talked about a second ago, you'll be much more likely to be in tune with what you need to be so that you can make proper food choices and not balloon during this time and come when this quarantine thing is over, not want to come out of your house at all. Okay, next, tip number 3 of what you don't want to do in this time of stress and struggle is don't drown in media. Now, we talked a minute ago about how you can get misled by training information that might not be best suited for you. But there's also this concern that you need to be concerned about how you have all this time now, and you're likely going to be drawn into absorbing news and being on social media a whole heck of a lot more than you normally are, because you've got the time for it and your attention is just drawn to it. And this is a potentially big danger point even for your fitness. And you've really got to be aware of what your limits are. And what I mean by that is if you find yourself arguing with people online about all the different societal factors and statistics about coronavirus and how it's spreading and how it's not and this and that and anything else, politics, we're in an election year in the United States. If you're getting sucked into that during this time, there's a good chance that you're going to be affecting your moods, and that's going to affect your physical health. Not only that, if you affect your moods, you're going to affect, like what we just talked about a second ago, in your food choices. When you're upset, when you're mad, at least a lot of people, you tend to make poor food choices. So be very aware of what you're letting pass not only into your mouth, but also into your eyes and ears, because it is going to affect your mental health state, which is definitely going to also affect your physical health state. Okay, and now my last tip number 4 of what I don't want you to do during this time to stay on track with your fitness is don't just sit there. Don't sit around thinking that, this will pass soon and I'm just going to kind of take it easy until it does and wait until this passes so I can go back to the gym. You don't know when that's going to happen, and so it's not a really good idea. Not to mention, even if you do go back to the gym, who knows? Maybe there's going to be different restrictions in place, and in some other way your life might still be a little out of whack once all of those restrictions get lifted. And sadly, some people think to themselves during times like this, I'm just going to forget about it altogether. I don't want to do a different routine other than what I already do, and so I'm going to not disturb that and just do nothing during that time. Hopefully that's not you. Hopefully you're the type of human being that sees challenge, sees disruption in your life and says, okay, how can I adapt to this? How can I change? How can I keep going to help keep myself in shape and fit during this time? Even if it's not ideal, I don't have my favorite workout machines or treadmills or whatever at the gym. You don't have access. For me, it's the same thing. I don't work out in the gym, but I work out at parks and beaches, and that's my favorite thing to do. Can't do that right now in quite the same way like we used to be able to do when everything was open. And so it's time to not just sit there. Now, I also mean literally don't just sit there. Don't be sedentary. Sedentarism, did I say that right? Sedentarism, I think so. I think that's a word. There's lots of studies that have been done that sitting is the new smoking, people say. And it's really true. It's really dangerous. It's really unhealthy for you to just sit there. And with all of the other factors that we talked about, the mood changes, the struggles that this situation is going to put on you in that regard, the opportunity to binge and eat and just make really poor choices, all of these things combined together, along with sitting and doing nothing, is going to be, again, like we talked about, the perfect storm that's really going to affect you and impact you negatively. So please don't do that. Don't sit down. Don't just sit there. Get up, move often. Get creative. If you need help, I'm always here. There's lots of ways that I can help you with creative ways that you can get up and move your body in different ways, even if you don't have equipment at home, to just stay active, okay? So friends, I hope that wasn't super negative. Like I talked about, there's going to be a part 2 to this video coming very, very soon that's going to have a lot of do's that you should be doing to help yourself during this time of uncertainty and change in trying to stay in shape when your life's been disrupted by the current world situation. But I think there's a lot of wisdom in the awareness that we talked about and the things that you can do to prevent problems from even happening by having that awareness, okay? Now, there's lots of other don'ts that you can probably think of. If you've got some ideas on what some of those might be, put them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. I like having comments, even if they're things that disagree with what I say. That way it provides opportunity for discussion, and maybe we can come to a better conclusion of something that I or you have said, and helps more people that way. And of course, if you know somebody who's struggling to adapt to this new situation that we're in with trying to stay in shape, and they're really struggling with their moods and staying active, please share this video with them. And if they need help, please refer them my way. I would love to help as many people as I possibly can during this time. And I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Take care. Aloha.